All right, I think we might be rolling. Yeah, we are. Here we go. All right, we got some people. People are joining. It's gonna be fun. Okay, we're looking good. Got some love coming in from the comments. Love to see it. We'll be rolling in just about 2 minutes, kicking things off. I'm excited. Arman, are you excited?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. 7 years in the making. 7 years. Michael Parker. He says, all I want for Christmas is some hyperdrives. You and me both, brother. All right, everybody, it is go time. Happy holidays. I hope you guys are having as much fun as we are here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the 12 Days of Search Atlas. Man, it has been an amazing year. We'd love it if you guys could just pop into the chat. Just let us know where you're joining us from. I'm sure we got people all over the world. I see some people from the UK, some people from the States. Pop it in. All right, so let's get the show going today. So you guys know that feeling when you're wrapping up your presents and the paper is just a little bit too short? Well, that's how the rest of the industry is going to look, trying to catch up to what Arman and I are going to be unwrapping this holiday season. Welcome to the 12 Days of Search Atlas, a festive countdown where each day we will be unveiling something fresh, exciting, designed to help you level up your agency. Think of it as our spin on the 12 days of Christmas. But instead of turtle doves and drummers drumming, you'll be finding the next generation of AI features, new products and technologies, and best of all, they'll all be available to you, grandfathered in to all of our existing plans. Over the last quarter, our team, we've been deep in research, hard at work, prototyping new solutions and testing cutting-edge ideas, and now it's time to share these innovations with you just before the end of the year. And each day, there'll be a new capability that is reflecting the Search Atlas team's ongoing commitment to empowering you guys, our wonderful and amazing community, with the most innovative and impactful tools, making your Search Atlas experience more powerful, more efficient, more results-driven. So grab a mug of hot cocoa or maybe some eggnog, depending what floats your boat. Settle in and let's get ready to be inspired. The 12 Days of Search Atlas starts now. Let the innovation unwrapping begin. Let's get a drum roll, please. All right, guys, I know you're all hot and bothered. It is time for the big reveal. Man, I've always wanted to do that. This is our first episode, so you'll have to forgive me if I go a little overboard with the sound effects. But ladies and gentlemen, today, I want to give you LinkLaboratory, the world's largest publisher exchange, connecting you with over 51,000 authoritative websites that accept guest posts, press releases, making it the largest publisher catalog on the internet, 4 times larger than our nearest competitor. With LinkLaboratory, you can quickly expand your online presence, build valuable backlinks, and boost your ranking signals. You'll be able to publish to these websites without the middlemen and link pimps. If you've gotten those spreadsheets, I'm sure you have, like I have, where people are trying to get you to, dear sir, madam, pick a link in the spreadsheet if you please. No middlemen in this whatsoever. And so you'll be getting the cheapest prices that they offer for sponsored content, which is going to save you time through a highly automated delivery and publication engine, all while accessing the largest catalog of guest post publications on the internet. So whether you're working on brand awareness, thought leadership, or SEO-driven campaigns, LinkLaboratory will help ensure your message lands on trusted platforms that drive influence and credibility in search engines and large language models. Strengthen your brand authority, improve domain power, DRDA, trust flow, and you'll be able to stand out in today's AEO landscape. All right, so without further ado, I would love to welcome you guys to someone you all know very, very well. It is Arman Advani, partner at Search Atlas Group, to the show. How are you, Arman?
I'm doing fantastic, Monty. It's great to be here with you. It's been a fantastic journey. I'm excited to expose LinkLaboratory, show the publisher exchange, and really help the community grow here.
Awesome, man. It has been a hell of a journey to get here. Could you maybe just start by just riffing with me a little bit on where did this whole journey begin? Where did we start? How did we get to this moment of having 51,000 publishers to offer?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the journey started almost a decade ago. Saying that out loud is kind of crazy to think it's been almost 10 years. But I remember our start quite well. So part of, I would say a lot of the community now knows this as Search Atlas, but what they don't really understand or don't really get exposure to is the broader Search Atlas group, right? So the Search Atlas group has a ton of different brands under the umbrella. One of those brands is a company called LinkLaboratory. Now, when we first met and we first started this crazy journey that we're on, we looked at the digital marketing landscape and realized that it's segmented, right? So you have this umbrella for digital marketing under which you have this subset of services called SEO. And under the umbrella of SEO, you have all of these additional services like content, technical SEO, link building, etc. So when we first launched, our go-to-market strategy was not to be a generalist agency to cover every nook and cranny of the digital marketing space. We wanted to go narrow and deep. So what we did was penetrate the market with a scalable solution to high authority link building, right? We didn't offer everything under the sun day one. We offered one thing and one thing only. It was quality focused guest posting at scale. Specifically, we started targeting agencies, right? So agencies that were doing paid media as a service or website design and development as a service, or maybe they were content writing shops. And they knew the power of backlinks, but they knew they couldn't scale it internally. So they were scouring the internet looking for trustworthy partners that could help plug that gap. And as you mentioned, a lot of agencies fall into this, let's say, this underbelly of the internet where they're prospecting these sites via spreadsheets with people from all over the world who have no real credo in the space of SEO, right? So there wasn't a transparent platform or service that offered agencies to have a quality approach to link building. So that's really, as they say, where we cut our teeth, right? And the way we really scaled this was through technology, right? We knew outreach was important. We knew finding quality publishers that were topically relevant was important, but doing it manually, one cold email at a time, is just not a sustainable, scalable way to do it, right? So luckily for me, Monik is a genius. He's a full stack engineer. He's a great CTO. He's a great leader. And he was able to build a lot of the foundational technology that honestly allowed us to scale that publisher exchange to what it is today. So yeah, I mean, I would say that's really where we started. Ooh, sorry, Monik. I think your audio may be connected to the earpods, which may not be feeding through to the system.
And how are we now?
Now we're
Got me?
perfect.
Beautiful. So, Armana, I remember the first day when you joined, and I remember what that was like, where we didn't have all the automation in place. We were doing it manually. And
Yep.
my God, the amount of sometimes issues, mistakes, publishers that didn't get the content, publishers that would publish the content, but then all of the shitty stuff that can happen, including, like, let's rattle them off. They publish it, they get paid, and then they remove the content, they take it down, and then
Yep.
just, pretend like nothing ever happened. They've already gotten their money, and then they're just gone. They
Exactly.
add no index tags, no follow tags to the pages. Publishers that will also say they can publish to sites that they can't, or they'll publish to some weird subdomain. So we literally, having scaled this up for the last 7 years, I feel like we've hit every single possible potential problem that you can have as you scale a link building system at scale. And so over the last 7 years, we've really had to figure out all the edge cases, dial it in, make it really automated and easy and efficient for our team. But this, I want you guys to understand, this up until today has been an internal tool that we have used to scale our agency to 8 figures. Okay. We broke over 10 million of revenue through technology, through this platform, helped us get there in a big way. Armand, could you tell us about because obviously we work with a lot of big enterprise companies. Let's talk about some of the case studies about what this format, guest posting, has been able to do for some of those websites. You've been front and center to a lot of those.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I definitely noticed, like, when we first started working on brands, especially the more competitive SaaS companies and big e-commerce stores, it was really easy for us to get consistent results through quality-based link building, especially in the early days. It almost seemed like link building was the one and only ranking factor that Google was paying attention to. Obviously, as we know, Google is a fluid mechanism. It's an ever-changing beast. And as we've been saying time and time again, is search is becoming more democratic, right? So what we used to be able to accomplish with pure link building alone has now forced us to factor in things like on-page SEO, technical SEO, and the user experience. Even though those additional factors are gaining importance and are continuing to doing so, link building is not going anywhere, right? There's a lot of people that think link building is dead, that link building doesn't work anymore. And that's definitely not the case. Like, we've looked at the Google patents, we've looked at the original dissertation papers that Larry Page and Sergey Brin released, highlighting that, page rank through link building is one of the core mechanisms by which Google search is built. So link building is not going anywhere, but the type of link building that works is what's changing, right? So it used to be that you used to go on a site like Fiverr, pay some guy in Sri Lanka or Belarus a couple $100, get a couple thousand backlinks overnight, and you were on Easy Street. You were ranking organic #1 with those strategies. But Google's realized that, gamifying backlinking and getting sites from links just for the sake of getting sites from links doesn't work anymore, right? So now it's all about the contextual way those links are being embedded within these articles. And the publishers that you're getting these links from actually have to have quality metrics. We could talk about DA and DR, but at the end of the day, what we've realized building links at the scale over the last 10 years or so is that actually traffic and context matters way more than domain authority, domain rating, trust flow, citation flow. Like, it is all about context and it is all about traffic. And that is really why we've taken our initial database of, let's say, 450,000 unique publishers and trim that down to just north of 50,000 of sites that are actually contributing equity when you secure links from them.
That's right. We actually have even more publishers, guys. We have 500,000. The catalog will only let you see 51,000 today because many of those other publishers, we've deemed them unfit for you. Some of those sites, they may be cheaper to publish on, but we don't want the industry to be moving in that direction. We don't want you guys to end up with campaigns that are not successful because you didn't focus on the right metrics. We actually created domain power, and today, Arman and I, we're going to show you in just a minute or two. We're going to go into that publisher exchange. We're going to show you some of the sites you can find. We're going to show you how you can filter the sites to find the perfect site for either it's for your brand or for your client. We'll show you how to do the whole thing. And I also want Arman to talk to you about how we actually did this, right? How did we find these sites? Early on as a link builder, our clients were looking for us to find them always the most contextual sites that we could, the most relevant sites. And that was 7 years ago. And you can imagine when you do something for 7 years, right? Like anything, when you put in your 1,000 hours, you become a master of something. We've put in our 1,000 hours into this. And I shouldn't say just Arman and myself. Thankfully, we have an incredible team, amazing team of now over 150 people globally that has specialized in this craft of link building and outreach for as long as we can really remember. Now, today, we're going to give you the result of the effort and the work. It's a catalog that you guys can use. If you're on Search Atlas, you'll be able to white label it too if you want to resell it or put it in front of your clients and customers. We also give you the tools to do your own outreach. If you decide you want to do your own outreach, you have those tools at your disposal as well. But we're going to give you the shortcut. Instead of you having to build up your own database of publishers, we're going to give you ours. And we're going to give you our buying power. So we have been buying backlinks for 7 years. We've spent 25 million buckaroos, 25 million big ones. That type of demand has allowed us to get the best possible pricing from these publishers. And we are always trying to bring the prices down. If I could give you these sites for free, you know I would. But unfortunately, you have to pay these publishers. So that's how it happens. Arman, do you want to give any more background now, or do you want to dive into the actual product demo? What do you say?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We could definitely dive right into it. And one thing I will say is that just because the platform right now has about 51,000 unique publishers in there, it's not going to stop there, right? Every time you guys log in, you will see new publishers because this has been true as long as I can remember. Outreach never stops, right? Just because you've sourced that next batch of publishers for your client, that doesn't mean they're not going to still need new backlinks next month, or you're not going to get new clients next month, right? So outreach for us is a 24/7 round the clock service that we are always, always, always doing. As Monik said, I'm going to show you a couple ways you can internalize this outreach using Search Atlas. But if you don't want to think about it, you just want the answer, so to speak, you can use our publisher exchange and just know that it is an ever-growing database of sites.
Amazing.
Sweet. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I'll show you guys a couple of new screens inside Search Atlas, and we'll dive right into it. So cool. I think I'm sharing my screen now.
Give me 1 second. Can you guys all see that coming through? Yeah, this should be good.
Okay, fantastic. Cool. So just a quick recap. We have searchatlas.com. We have LinkGraph, which is our holistic digital marketing agency. And then we have LinkLaboratory, which is purely our link building extension. Now, just to highlight the way we used to do link building and how we even brought this database into existence, it all actually starts with a very simple concept that I'm sure you guys are doing either manually or piecemealing through different tools. But the way you can do this inside Search Atlas is just hit the drop-down selector for more and go to your suite of backlink tools. Once there, you're actually just going to go to this link gap analysis tool, where the tool, I'll just show you the quick setup screen here. It allows you to plug in the site that you're working on, so your client or your own website, and then plug in the top organic competitors. You can plug in up to 6 competitors per report. Once you do that, you'll get landed on a screen that looks like this, where we're showing you all of the websites that are providing links to one or more competitor but are not linking to the site that you're prospecting or working on, right? Now, this list, we're going to present the root domain, the domain authority, the spam score, and then the actual link that the competitor has from that particular website. And this is a full, all-encompassed, unfiltered list. So the next step of this process would be to download this report into a CSV, open it up into a spreadsheet, and start categorizing these sites. Because at first glance, you'll notice that some of these are social media links. Some of these are going to be partner or affiliates. Some of these are going to be press mentions. Some are going to be, spam links, right? But really what you want to do here is get a list of sites that are open to editorial-based content, right? They're essentially open to guest posting or reciprocal linking or essentially participating in some type of content syndication strategy. So step 1, run this report. Step 2, download that list. Step 3, categorize those sites and isolate the sites that you want to prospect for net new guest post opportunities, right? Now, once you have that list, you'll then hit the more and go to the digital PR section, which will take you to this screen. And what you're going to do in here is essentially create a campaign. And you're going to create one campaign per client. So you'll say client A, you'll build a little folder for them and drop the links into that folder. And then you're going to switch from the keyword view to the domain view. And you're going to paste the list of domains that you've analyzed from your link gap analysis. If you want to filter that list further, you would apply some filters down here around traffic source, around TLD requirements, authority minimums, traffic minimums, count of organic keywords, count of referring domains that the site has. And if there are sites you don't want to reach out to, you'll add those as your blacklist, right? Once you've built your campaign parameters, you're then going to connect your inbox. So you'll hit this button, manage connected emails, add a new email, connect to your inbox. And then you're either going to select one of the templates that we have from our drip sequence library, or you're going to build your own template, right? We have templates for guest posts, for link insertions, for broken link building, for podcasting opportunities. There's a ton of different use cases or templates that we've pre-built, or you can always build your own outreach template and sequence of emails. But essentially, once you've connected your inbox, set up your campaign parameters and selected a template, you're simply then just enrolling those emails into the template that you've selected, right? And the tool is doing all of this work for you. So just based off of the site that you've given it, Search Atlas will source the publisher contact information. They'll reach out to those particular email addresses and trigger the drip sequence at the cadence that you've specified. And now all you're doing is waiting for those hits to come back and essentially either securing that guest post or doing a little bit of negotiating on the back end, right? This process that I'm showing you was done manually through spreadsheets for years before we could figure out how do we scale this? How do we figure out the scraping methodology? How do we get the contact information? How do we configure the email senders, right? So as Monik said, this has been an internal tool that we've been using forever, but we've only recently opened it up as a public version inside Search Atlas. And this process is fantastic. This process does work. This process is what helps us onboard new publishers. But it still requires your team to set up these campaigns and monitor them for responses, right? So have we cut out the majority of the work? Yes, about 90 to 95% of the work has been cut out of this equation. But that little bit, that 5 to 10% still requires a little bit of effort, right? Now, if that 5 to 10% is too much for you, as it is for a lot of us because we're busy, we're growing our agencies, et cetera, that's where the publisher exchange really comes into place, right? All you have to do to access it is hit the drop-down menu here next to your settings and switch on over to the app ecosystem. It'll be the first thing here called Publisher Exchange. And then you're just going to hit this blue button to access the link market, in which case it'll open up a new dashboard called app.linklaboratory.com, and you'll land on a screen that looks like this. Now, before I dive into this, Monik, is there anything you want me to add or clarify around the initial process here?
No, I think it's pretty clear. One thing I'll just add, guys, is it's you can do the outreach yourself, of course. And I think that from a sales perspective, from a prospecting perspective, those tools are also very valuable for sales. But we built it originally from a link acquisition perspective. And Armand showed you some of the templates that we've been using to do that. I think the big acceleration you guys are going to get with LinkLaboratory is time. In order for us to build this catalog of sites, it literally took us 7 years. And along the way, we had publishers that were low quality publishers, people that weren't actually real publishers somehow get a hold of our email and try to break their way into our platform. We actually had to close the publisher side of this platform because, if you can believe it, every day we were getting thousands of people trying to log in to add their quote unquote websites into the equation to try to get content pushed through. And there was so much spam coming in, so much spam, that we had to block it and limit it to prevent that from happening. So what you guys are seeing is the polished, finished diamond after we had to dig all this stuff up from the earth. So I just want to make sure that is clear. The sites that are in here that we've published to, we have a lot of reliability around them because we've been using them for years, and we publish to them successfully for our other clients. If a publisher, let's say, goes rogue and does something wrong, we will kick them off the platform. We'll remove them. If there are publishers that do things like reach out to clients, which happens occasionally, we also go after them and we remove them from our platform. The benefit of the scale and the volume that we have is that these publishers know that if they want to participate in this platform, they got to play by the rules. And so whereas I think some of these guys, they can be difficult to do business with if you're working with a one-on-one, because they really don't want to lose access to our platform. We're able to get them to play by our rules. And those rules are also programmatically validated and verified, where we're programmatically going to all the links that are built and verifying them, that the articles are still up, that the links are still there, that they're not no followed, etc. I think that's important to point out, Arman.
Absolutely. And, the other side of this is kind of removing the middleman from the equation, right? Part of being a publisher and onboarding onto this platform is you have to prove to us through a minimum of 2 out of 5 validation methods that you own this site or you're directly affiliated with this site, right? So if you're a publisher, you can't sign up to this platform with some random Gmail account like williamjones738@gmail.com. Not going to happen, William. You're not joining this platform. Like, I need your email address to be at the domain you say you're at. And I need to connect with you on LinkedIn. I need to validate that you're a real human that has some direct ownership or affiliation with this platform. And that's the big separator to make sure that we're not getting, a ton of people that have their own prices, that have their own margins that need to be added to this equation, right? So it's really allowing us to supply the publishers really at cost, which is super important to saving money across the board.
100%. And Armand, when you go to the site catalog, let's also show this. Someone asked the question, are these all US-based websites? Good question.
No, they're not. I would say the majority of them are US-based because our primary audiences, at least on the services side, are going to be the US, Canada, UK, and Australia. So there is the most coverage, if you will, in those major English-speaking markets. But the platform is not limited to just US only. There are sites from Singapore, from Germany, from Asia Pacific, different markets, pretty much all over the world. And we're always adding new publishers that fit either language, TLD, or compliance-based requirements. So if you guys have a high demand for publishers in a specific region that you're not seeing in the database today, that's what the chat is for. You can kind of just submit those requests to the chat and have our team focus our outreach efforts on those geos specifically for you.
Perfect. Now, Armand, could you walk us through? We'd love to see some examples of like marquee sites, just some awesome sites that if you've got a client, let's say like a big brand, Fortune 500 type of company, enterprise, that you want to put them on like a really, really amazing website. Can you show us some examples of what those look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are 2 segments here in the site catalog, if you will. If you're just on the site catalog tab, that's where you're going to get the full list of north of 51,000 unique publishers. You'll notice here that we are omitting the URL. This is for several reasons. 1 is for the publisher protection. 2 is in case someone gets access to this that we don't want to. We don't want them scraping the database and creating issues downstream. So essentially what we're doing is we're omitting the URL. but we're showing you the category that the site is in. We're showing you the count of organic keywords the site ranks for, the organic traffic estimate to the site, the domain power, the domain authority, the domain rating, backlinks and referring domains, trust flow and citation flow, spam score, and then the price to publish, and then the price to publish plus writing. So this is the full catalog here, and there's all these filters that you can use to find sites that fit your specific use case. And then on the marquee side of things, these are really the top tier publishers, right? These are sites that either have national audiences or global audiences like USA Today, that are industry specific, or that are just really amazing links from an SEO perspective, meaning they're .edu domains, for example, like Penn State, that transfer a lot of equity per individual link earned. Now, we also have some notes here to indicate, are these going to be sponsored? Are they going to be do follow? Are they going to be permanent? Like, what are the parameters that I need to be aware of? If I'm going to spend a premium to get on a marquee publications, I need to know kind of those fringe cases of what I'm going to get when I actually secure that link, right? So there are kind of two options, if you will. The marquee is really for that premium top tier client that's looking for name brand recognition or as featured in, or is just in a really competitive space that needs these high powered links. And then the overall site catalog is going to be, as the name implies, the full database of all the publishers based off country, category, traffic, or some other performance metric that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah. Now, let's go back to the marquee publishers. I want to show you guys some of the heat that's in there. Apple News. You got Apple News at the top. And so that's like a very well-known publication platform. Investing.com, USA Today, SI.com. Arman, what's SI? Is that Sports Illustrated?
I think so, yeah.
Sweet. Mm-hmm. So Sports Illustrated could be good for some clothing brands, apparel brands. The independent.co.uk domain, that's a great one as well. We've also got some EDUs in there, don't we? Because I know that one of the things, this is, Arman was around for a very interesting chapter in our company's history when we acquired a publisher network of EDU sites, basically the ability to publish to EDUs. And the cool thing about that is that we were able to publish to them directly at prices that you guys would be surprised at how cost effective they are. I think it's just about $100 for some of those EDU links, and they're incredibly authoritative. So feel free, guys, to peruse this catalog and have a look at the sites. One of the things that I do think we will be adding soon is like a site score, which is going to be a combination of how cheap it is versus how authoritative it is. So instead of you having to filter by price point to then see what's there, we're going to try to surface what we believe are our favorite options that you guys should just be picking from instead of kind of combing through them. But in the marquee publication list, Arman, how many sites did we give them here?
This list is about 130, 140 in that neighborhood. There are a few comments, 153 in this particular list, actually. A few comments here in the chat. Are they going to be no follow or do follow? We indicate that on the publisher level, right? So when you look at the note tab, that's where you're going to see, is it do follow? Is it no follow? Is it indexed by Google News? Is it tagged as sponsored, right? So any of those fringe cases will be relayed to you in the notes section. And then a few other questions here. Do we have other local sites? Absolutely. Those would be in the site's catalog. So not all local news sites fit the umbrella of a marquee publisher, right? So there are some marquee local news sites that are in the marquee section. And then there are what we'd consider standard news sites all over the country, all over the world, that would fit into the traditional site catalog section. And then Tyler's asking, do we have access to LinkLab if we're on the pro plan of Search Atlas? Yeah, you'll have access to LinkLabs if you're really on any plan of Search Atlas. It's always going to be in here. Just hit the drop down, go to the app ecosystem. It'll be the first thing you see, and then just hit the access, and then it'll SSO you into your LinkLaboratory dashboard.
Perfect. And Arman, I'm sure a question that some people must be wondering is, what's the time frame that they can expect when if they want to get a guest post on one of these sites? What's the timeline? How long will it take?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the max turnaround time is typically 30 days. The average turnaround time is actually quite a bit shorter than that. It's about 7 to 14 days from the order being submitted. And then you do see here, again, I'll just switch here, that you have two different prices, right? So the price to publish and then the price to publish and post. So what does that look like? How do you give us the details? How do we figure out all of this stuff? So let's look at an example. Say we go to a project, and I have a little test project here under this property speed test. So I've added two sites to my order, one for $85, one for $65. They have good metrics across the board. They fit the categories I'm looking for. I'm looking at all the metrics. Everything looks good. And then I sit at view and cart, right? So now I have two options. I want to order the placement only, meaning you, the user, are going to specify the URL, you're going to specify the anchor text, you're going to tell me the article title, and you're going to give me the entire content itself. So you're going to write the article, the guest post content, you're going to give us all the parameters, you're going to submit payment, and then our team is going to take what you've supplied and get that posted for you on the publisher that you've selected. If you select writing and placement, then you're just going to give us the details around the page or the URL you want us to target, the anchor text and any supporting periphery keywords, as well as any instructions about what you'd like this article to be focused on. And then our team will take this, write the article for you, and get it submitted, right? So generally speaking, 7 to 14 day turnaround time. The max turnaround time is 30 days, unless otherwise noted on the marquee publisher options, right? Because there are certain marquee publishers that have extended content windows. So maybe it'll take 40 to 45 days, but that would be communicated to you before you remit the order, right? So you have that transparency. And then all of the orders that you placed through the system, once they're paid for and up and running, they'll be tracked for you in the My Orders tab in Search Atlas. So you'll come in here and say, okay, on December 16th, I ordered these links. I paid this much for them. And then you'll get the full order tracking set up for you with automated emails to send you alerts every time a new link is secured, as well as when that order is complete.
Awesome. Arman, actually, I just want to emphasize that point one more time about the order tracking and the order management. So once they place an order for multiple links, they're going to get automated notifications from the system. First, when they submit the order, weekly, every week until the order is completed with a order update. And then, or are there any other, I believe an order completion email as well, right?
Correct, yeah. So it's order submitted, so confirming that the order is placed. Then every week you get a status update. It'll say, hey, 1 out of 7 of your links is secured. Here's what's pending for next week. And then once the order is completed in its entirety, you get a full order summary that says, here are the 7 links you purchased. Here's the links to all of the backlinks that were secured, and you can download that or forward that report on to the client.
Perfect. Okay, we got a couple other questions coming in on the chat. Darren asks, what does this mean for the future of Signal Genesis? Arman, you want to take that or should I?
Let's both take it. I mean, so the thing is, like, my perspective on this situation is that this is going to help Signal Genesis, and Signal Genesis is going to help this as well, right? Because what is Signal Genesis? It's a press release distribution service, but the site catalog inside LinkLaboratory is well beyond just press releases, right? There are topically focused publishers, there are marquee publishers, there are sites that are taking content in the format of an article, not a press release, right? So it gives the Signal Genesis audience exposure to tens of thousands of publishers that they would not have access to in just a PR-only world. On the opposite side of it, it gives the people that are historically only doing guest posts the ability to access press release syndication as a service for pennies on the dollar, right? So it's helping both sides of that audience get better access to publishers.
Definitely. And to piggyback on that, one of the things that that happens when we're trying to onboard new publishers onto Signal Genesis, and hint, hint, there is a day in what part of the 12 days of Search Atlas, which is about new publisher distribution channels inside Signal Genesis. So stay tuned for that day. The volume of content that we're publishing to these news outlets is actually critical, because in order for us to get, first of all, access, right, we have to have a certain amount of volume and we have to give them commitments. For Yahoo News, for example, it's $1 million annual commitment to even be able to publish to Yahoo News. So just think about that. So this actually is helping Signal Genesis because we're able to bring more demand to our newsrooms and to our news distribution partners that we can use to, number one, get better economics, better prices, and more selection. So they actually help each other. And you will see that there will be some Signal Genesis news distribution points added into LinkLaboratory. Great question, Darren. So the future is bright for Signal Genesis, especially. Stay tuned for the day of Search Atlas that is just about Signal Genesis, because we're going to be showing you all the new stuff that's coming. Okay? Thanks for the question. All right, let's go to another question from Stephen Howe. Silly question. Why are the publishers blurred in the site catalog? I think it's a good question. Arman, you want to explain why we did that?
Yeah, I kind of covered that a little bit earlier, but there are a few different reasons, right? One is to protect the publisher. What we don't want to have happen is these publishers become like every other publisher on the internet, right? Where they become a part of this static spreadsheet that every SEO has access to, that blasts out to every business owner. And effectively, these publishers then become, for lack of a better word, pimped out by SEOs, right? So we're doing this to protect the publisher. We're also doing this to protect our audience, right? Like we want you guys to get quality backlinks, but we don't want to expose those sites to unnecessary risk from other vendors or even from Google for that matter, right? So it's done purely out of caution and protection for both the publisher and the end customer.
And there's also publishers, the only reason they're on the platform is because they know that their domain's being protected. So that's important. Yeah. Good question, Stephen. I hope that helps. Michael Parker asks, how long will the article stay up, do you think?
Yeah, I could take that one as well. So the articles, we guarantee them for a minimum of 1 year, right? The intention of these articles is for them to be permanent and not go down. But if during the course of 1 year, the article comes down for whatever reason, or if we said it was going to be do follow and it switches to no follow, or the page 404s, or the link gets removed from the article, et cetera, we'll actually replace that link for you at no additional charge, right? And the way we do this is we run a cron job in our system every week to validate that the links are live, they're returning a status code of 200, the robot's meta tag says it's do follow and indexable. So we're running these cron jobs across all of the placements in our system to make sure that the links are live and they are what they say they are. If the link goes down or there's an issue, it triggers a webhook, which sends a notification to our fulfillment team to say there's an issue with placement ID 1234, right? And then we review it.
And then the publishers get notified.
Exactly. Yeah. So this whole system is automated to make sure that your links stay live, and we do guarantee them for a minimum of 1 year.
Okay, amazing. Good job, Arman. Let's take a couple more. So Tyler asks, can you do a keyword search for certain sites, or is it just filtering based on category? So let me take this one. There's actually a new feature coming, and it's built in. It's basically the same algorithm that we're using for Wildfire, which some of you guys already know what that is if you follow me on social. You probably understand that is a big product that's going to be coming. That's one of the 12 days we're going to be announcing it. And the real idea of what we want you to be able to do is plug in the client, plug in the site that you want to build the links for. And what we will do is we will analyze the topicality of the entire catalog just for your client. And we will basically give you a topicality score on every publication ordered by most topically relevant to least topically relevant. So you don't even have to do the keyword search. You can just look at which publications have they're called document embeddings, essentially, but vectors that are close to your client, which basically means similar content. And that feature is going to be coming probably by the end of the year. I think it actually may already be built in the back end, but we're doing some QA and testing before we drop it in. And we just wanted to give you the platform today to use it and enjoy it before we add some of those other more advanced features. So there's more kind of AI type technology coming into this very soon. Okay. Thanks, Tyler. Now let's go to Eric's question. Eric, what's your guess on how long it'll take Google to pick up these posts, basically index them, and then show up as a new backlink? Arman, you've answered this question more times than I can count.
Yeah. I mean,
not today, but just
it really depends. Absolutely. No, absolutely. It depends on a lot of factors, right? So it depends predominantly on the domain power, which again, as a reminder, domain power is calculated by traffic, not really by any other factor, right? So if the site is, let's say, Apple News is getting crawled hundreds of times per second by Googlebot, right? So the more domain power, the more traffic the site has, the more active the brand is or the publisher is, the faster it gets crawled, right? The faster the indexation happens. So for some of those top tier publishers, especially the sites that are getting a ton of traffic, we're seeing links get indexed within the week they go live, sometimes even just a day or two later. It's really when you come down to some of the lower tiered links that have very little traffic or little to no traffic that you run into this issue of, I built this link a week ago, it's still not showing up in Search Console or it's not being added to the index, what's going on? So it's mainly a function of the quality of the site that you're selecting and how frequently that site is being crawled, right? You could use like an indexation tool to run this or build some tier 2 links to your tier 1 link to speed up those indexations. But generally speaking, if you're picking a site with a reasonable amount of organic traffic, you really shouldn't be worrying about the indexation because it will happen organically very quickly.
Totally. Yeah, we actually don't even have to send those links into the indexers because Google indexes them naturally, organically. Usually we see within a week or so, the link is already indexed as Google just crawls the domain and finds it in the sitemap. So it's usually not even an issue. I think it's very rarely do we find domains that have this content published that where it's not indexed. Part of what we're looking for are domains that are putting this aspect of their site structure available and indexable by crawlers. If we see there's a domain where they, in the robots file, say, hey, this section of the site, don't crawl it, guess what? We don't want that domain in the catalog. They're basically trying to take a cheap shot and make it look like they're creating an opportunity for link builders, but they're actually not. So to be honest, guys, it does take us a lot of work to basically make sure the publishers are doing things right. And we have to do a lot of programmatic validations that we put in place. Fortunately, this is not a new product for us. It's one that we've had around for 7 years. And you guys are just kind of now getting access to the catalog through the exchange. So I think that answers your question there, Eric. Awesome. And then someone asks, can you give us some teasers on what else we're going to be dropping over the next 12 days? Well, I don't want to spoil it, guys. Come on. You don't want to spoil it. You don't want to know what you're getting on Christmas, right? You want it to be a surprise. Part of it is fun to see the expressions on your face or get the reactions. If I told you guys what we were dropping tomorrow and the day after and the day after that, that would be a lot less fun for me. So you guys are just going to have to come and see what we're dropping. Tomorrow will be the second installment of the 12 days of Search Atlas, and so I'm really excited. We'll be back here doing the same thing, except it'll be a new product. Now, as you guys can tell, this is not a small application. This is a big product. Every day, we're not going to be telling you about a new little button in Search Atlas that you press it and it goes, wait. It's going to be something big, something huge that we've put our heart and soul into, that our research team has been building for a long time. And so I'm really excited for you guys to see what we have up our sleeve. And I hope you guys are excited as well. It's not necessarily going to be at 3 p.m. We're running this alongside all of our other meetings. So it's going to be somewhere between noon and 3 p.m. I really hope to see you guys all here back for the second day of this tomorrow. And just a hint, there will be an episode on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So for those of you that just can't get enough of SEO and you want to nerd out with us, we'll be doing them on the holidays as well, okay? Arman, anything else that you want to close out with about the product before we jet?
Yeah, for sure. And, as Monik said, we are going to be doing some smart matching with AI coming soon. But right now, if you just hit the category and you just keep loading more, you will see just how many different industries, verticals, or types of sites that we have publishers available for. And some of you guys may be in your traditional like home services or law firms where it's relatively easy to get backlinks at scale. But I know for a fact, if you're in the adult space, if you're in the CBD or cannabis space, if you're in the firearm space, if there's so many spaces out there that have legitimate businesses that are trying to grow, but finding publishers that are quality, that accept content and backlinks for those verticals is so freaking painful. I know by just trying to do it for all of our clients in those industries, right? So if you're in those restricted spaces or international spaces or just difficult spaces, like this is going to help you guys quite a bit to find publishers where you have a really high confidence interval that it's going to be a quality backlink that works for that particular niche that the client happens to be in.
Totally. Well, guys, awesome. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun today to have you guys on the show with us. It's our first time doing this. I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as we did. And I can't wait to see you guys back here tomorrow for day 2 of the 12 Days of Search Atlas Holiday Edition. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's been a blast. Once again, I'm Manik Bond. You saw Arman Advani. I'm a partner in Search Atlas. And thank you guys so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Thanks, guys.